Did you know that most people make over 35,000 decisions every single day? From what to eat for breakfast to whether to hit snooze, your brain is constantly choosing. But here's the shocking part. Studies show that we fail at self-control a staggering 70% of the time. Whether it's skipping the gym or scrolling on social media instead of working, we're hardwired to chase instant gratification. Here's another eye-opener. Lack of self-control isn't just about bad habits. It's linked to bigger problems like poor health, lower income, and even shorter lifespans. In fact, a landmark study from New Zealand found that kids with better self-control grew up to have healthier bodies, better finances, and happier lives. The gap wasn't just small, it was huge. But here's the good news. Self-control isn't a talent you're born with. It's a skill you can build. In this video, we'll uncover the science behind self-control and share simple, actionable strategies to take charge of your choices. We'll reveal how to rewire your brain to resist temptation, why willpower alone is a losing game, and what to do instead, how tiny, everyday decisions can create life-changing results. If you've ever felt stuck in a cycle of bad habits or wished you had more discipline, this is for you. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to master your impulses and create the life you want. Ready to get started? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Brain's Secret Code. How self-control is wired. Your brain is like a tug-of-war arena. On one side, there's your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning and decision-making. On the other side, the limbic system is screaming for instant gratification. When you feel torn, it's because these two systems are battling it out. But here's the good news. You can train your brain to give the prefrontal cortex the upper hand. According to a study published in Nature Communications, mindfulness practices like deep breathing or meditation can strengthen this part of the brain. Think of it as going to the gym, but for your willpower. Want a quick trick? The 10-second rule. When you're about to give in to temptation, pause for 10 seconds and name the long-term benefit of resisting. This activates the logical part of your brain, tipping the scale in your favor. A fascinating fact: people with stronger prefrontal cortex activity have been found to delay gratification better, according to the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment. The kids who waited for the second marshmallow ended up scoring higher on SATs and had healthier relationships later in life. So, practice delaying gratification in small ways. Skip the elevator and take the stairs, or wait 5 minutes before diving into your favorite snack. These micro exercises strengthen your self-control muscle over time. Chapter 2. The Willpower Myth. Why discipline isn't enough. Let's clear this up. Self-control isn't just about trying harder. In fact, overusing willpower is a surefire way to fail. Studies show that willpower is like a muscle, it gets tired when overused. This phenomenon is called ego depletion. Picture this. After a long day of making decisions at work, you're more likely to order pizza than cook a healthy meal. That's not laziness, it's decision fatigue. According to researcher Roy Baumeister, the best decision makers are the ones who structure their lives so that they don't have to make so many decisions. The fix? Reduce decision making. Automate small choices by creating habits. Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfit every day, not because he lacked style, but to conserve mental energy for bigger decisions. Start with simple habit hacks. For instance, prep meals on Sundays so you don't face the nightly "what's for dinner" dilemma. Or schedule workouts at the same time every day. By removing choice, you conserve energy for things that matter. Here's a fun twist. Environment matters more than willpower. If you keep cookies on the counter, you'll eat them. Move them out of sight, and you're far less likely to indulge. A Cornell University study found that people who kept fruit visible ate 3 times more of it than those who didn't. Chapter 3. Dopamine Detox. Mastering the reward system. Dopamine is your brain's reward chemical. Every time you scroll social media, munch on chips, or binge watch Netflix, you're getting a hit of it. And guess what? That's training your brain to crave quick rewards over meaningful ones. But here's the twist: you can reset this reward system. A dopamine detox isn't about avoiding all pleasure, it's about breaking your addiction to instant gratification. The idea, popularized by Dr. Cameron Seppa, is to spend a few hours, or even a full day, avoiding dopamine spikes like junk food, social media, or video games. Instead, focus on low dopamine activities like journaling, walking, or deep reading. Over time, your brain recalibrates and starts finding joy in less stimulating but more fulfilling tasks. Here's a stat to blow your mind. A study from the University of Michigan found that students who used their phones during study breaks took 19% longer to complete tasks and scored 20% worse on memory tests. It's not just about time, it's about focus and efficiency. A simple strategy: create friction between you and the distractions. Put your phone in another room while working or use apps like Freedom to block social media during focus hours. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can retrain your brain. Finally, reward yourself, but smartly. Instead of mindlessly snacking, try pairing a healthy reward with a productive task. For example, enjoy your favorite podcast only during your evening walk. This shifts dopamine to activities that benefit you long-term. Chapter 4. The Time Travel Trick. How to think like your future self. Here's a thought. How often do you act in a way that benefits the future you? Research shows we're wired to prioritize short-term gratification, often at the expense of long-term rewards. But shifting your perspective can change everything. Psychologist Hal Hershfield conducted a fascinating experiment. Participants who saw age-progressed images of themselves, think older versions of their faces, saved more money for retirement. Why? Because they felt connected to their future selves. To apply this to self-control, visualize the ripple effects of your actions. Imagine how future you will feel if you stick to a habit or skip it. A helpful exercise is writing a letter to your future self. Be specific about your goals and how today's choices will get you there. Another hack? Use the commitment device. This strategy locks you into future behaviors. For example, schedule a gym session with a friend or set up automatic savings. A study in behavioral economics found that participants who used commitment devices were 30% more likely to achieve their goals. One unique idea is to track progress in a way that reflects future rewards. For example, if you're saving for a trip, keep a visual of the destination on your fridge. Each time you resist a temptation, imagine stepping closer to that goal. It's simple, but it works. If you're enjoying these tips, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the next steps in mastering your self-control. Chapter 5. Micro-decisions, macro results. The power of tiny choices. Big transformations don't happen overnight. They're built on the back of tiny, consistent decisions. Research by James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, shows that improving just 1% each day leads to nearly 37 times improvement in a year. Start by focusing on micro-decisions. For instance, instead of committing to a 1-hour workout, aim to do just one push-up. The small win triggers momentum, making the next step easier. Clear calls this the 2-minute rule. Scale down any habit to the simplest version. A surprising stat? A study in psychological science found that small, frequent rewards during goal pursuit boosted motivation more than large, delayed ones. So, celebrate those micro wins. Reward yourself for sticking to your morning routine or finishing a chapter of a book. Another tip is to build habit stacking. Tie a new habit to an existing one. For example, if you're trying to drink more water, take a sip every time you check your phone. This creates an automatic link, making the habit stick without extra effort. And here's a golden rule: focus on identity, not outcomes. Instead of saying, "I want to lose weight," say, "I'm someone who takes care of my health." Every micro decision you make reinforces this identity, strengthening your self-control muscle. Chapter 6. Self-control on autopilot. Designing a distraction-free life. Imagine a life where self-control feels effortless, because you've set up your environment to do the heavy lifting. This chapter is all about creating systems that eliminate distractions and temptations before they even appear. First, simplify your space. Research from the Princeton Neuroscience Institute shows that clutter competes for your attention, reducing focus and increasing stress. Start by decluttering your work area and keeping only essentials visible. Next, apply the out of sight, out of mind principle. If you want to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in your house. A study from Appetite found that participants ate 70% fewer snacks when they were stored out of reach. Another strategy? Time blocking. This involves dedicating specific time slots for deep work, rest, and leisure. Use a simple planner or apps like Google Calendar. Time blocking reduces decision fatigue and helps you stay on track. Don't forget about digital distractions. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day, according to a report by Ashurian. To regain control, turn off non-essential notifications or use the grayscale mode to make your phone less visually stimulating. Here's a unique idea. Create if-then plans. Psychologist Peter Gallwitzer's research found that people who used this strategy were twice as likely to stick to their goals. For example, if I feel like procrastinating, then I'll take a 5-minute walk to reset. Lastly, prioritize recovery. Willpower, like a battery, needs recharging. Sleep, exercise, and proper nutrition play huge roles in maintaining self-control. A 2019 study in Nature Human Behavior found that people who slept poorly were 57% more likely to make impulsive decisions. Want more tips to take control of your life? Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more expert strategies.